Ma'am, you can't sleep here. Please move along. The words sliced through the cold, sterile air of the hospital waiting room. A woman in her early 60s, with tangled gray hair tucked under a faded beanie, stirred from the stiff plastic chair where she'd been curled up for hours. Her small purse sat on her lap, clutched like it held something sacred, because it did. A letter. A name. A lifeline. "I'm not sleeping," she said softly, her voice dry and thin from thirst. "My daughter's in surgery. I just needed to sit." The security guard towered over her with arms crossed, lips tight. His navy blue uniform looked too polished for a place where lives unraveled daily. Visiting hours ended at 8. "You'll need to leave the premises now." She flinched. Looked down at her feet, one shoe cracked along the sole, the other slightly too big. Her coat wasn't thick enough for February, and the warmest thing she had was the folded envelope pressed to her chest. Around her, life kept moving. Phones rang. Nurses sped past with charts. Monitors beeped in and out of rhythm. No one stopped. No one looked. No one noticed her. Except one. At the far end of the hallway, a young woman in blue scrubs leaned against the nurse's station, exhaustion etched into the corners of her eyes. She had just clocked out from a 14-hour shift, 3 codes, 1 infant death, and a dozen charts still needing signatures. But something in the way the old woman sat, rigid and silent, like a statue too proud to crumble, pulled her in. She stepped forward. "Excuse me, ma'am, are you all right?" The woman looked up, blinking like she hadn't heard her name in days. "My daughter. Maya. Maya Henderson. She was in a car accident this morning. They brought her here. The ambulance people said surgery. They didn't tell me more. I didn't want to leave. I just..." Her voice broke. "I just wanted to be nearby. I don't have a phone. Or a car. I came by bus. Used my last $5 just to get here. I didn't know what else to do." The guard opened his mouth again, but the nurse turned on him sharply. "She's not going anywhere." He frowned. "Look, I'm just doing my job." "And I'm doing mine," she snapped. "She's the mother of a trauma patient. She stays." The old woman clutched a small, dog-eared envelope to her chest. It was bent from being read too many times. On the front, a child's handwriting spelled it out. "Dear Mom, I miss you. I hope you're okay." The nurse's throat tightened. "I know that name. Maya Henderson. We brought her in this morning, severe internal bleeding, crushed pelvis, punctured lung. She went straight into emergency surgery. No ID. No insurance. No next of kin listed. Until now." The old woman nodded slowly, as if her body was made of glass. "I'm her mother. We haven't always had the easiest life. She moved out last year. But she still writes me every month." She unfolded the envelope, smoothing the paper. This was from 3 weeks ago. She said she got a new job. She was proud of it. Said things were getting better. Said maybe we'd get to be family again. The nurse swallowed hard. She glanced at the security guard, who suddenly looked unsure of himself. Then she extended her hand. "Come with me." The woman rose, bones aching, knees stiff from hours on a plastic chair. As they walked down the corridor, the nurse slowed her pace, not out of pity, but out of respect. They entered the trauma recovery wing. Beeps echoed low and steady. Behind curtain 5B, a young woman with soft brown skin and long braids lay unconscious, tubes in her arms, chest rising and falling beneath blankets. The old woman stopped in the doorway. "She's alive?" "She made it through the surgery," the nurse said. "Barely. She coded twice, but she fought. She kept whispering something as we stabilized her." She turned to look at the old woman. She kept saying, "Don't let my mom leave." Over and over again. The woman covered her mouth, a sob caught halfway between disbelief and relief. She walked toward the bed, knelt down, and gently took her daughter's hand in hers. She didn't cry loudly. She didn't wail. She just held on like the world was trying to take Maya from her again. "I'm sorry, baby," she whispered. "I didn't know how to be a perfect mother. But I never stopped trying." The nurse stood back. Quiet. Still. She'd seen dozens of parents lose their children. But today was different. Today, she saw a mother fight her way back into her daughter's life, not with drama, not with rage, but with presence. With love that hadn't rusted with time. Soon, others began to notice. A young resident dropped off a warm blanket. A janitor brought her a sandwich. One of the ICU nurses whispered, "Is that her mom? Does she have anywhere to stay?" Within an hour, someone offered a spare cot in the staff lounge. And then the hospital administrator showed up, clipboard in hand, apology written all over his face. "Ma'am," he said gently, "I heard about what happened. I just wanted to say I'm sorry you were treated that way earlier. We'd like to offer you a private room, just for the night. No charge." She hesitated. "Why?" The nurse answered for him. "Because you matter. And so does your daughter." The night deepened. The storm outside had stopped, but the cold clung to the windows like frost on glass. The mother stayed by Maya's side until the early hours of the morning. Her fingers never left her daughter's hand. She whispered prayers no one could hear, sang pieces of lullabies she barely remembered, and closed her eyes only when Maya's hand twitched in hers, once, twice, like a signal from the edge of a dream. By morning, as the sun broke gently through the fog, Maya opened her eyes. She didn't speak right away. Her throat was dry. But her lips moved slowly, shaping the word, "Mom?" Tears fell, silent and steady. "I'm here, baby," her mother whispered. "I'm right here." Later, as visiting hours ended and staff began their morning rotations, the mother quietly gathered her things. She didn't want to overstay. She folded the blanket, tossed the sandwich wrapper, and slipped the letter back into her purse. The nurse spotted her near the elevator. "Where are you going?" The woman smiled faintly. "Back to the shelter. It's not far. They'll let me back in after 9 a.m. if I wait outside." The nurse shook her head. "Not anymore." A pause. "You're coming with me." The woman blinked. "To where?" "Home." There was no applause. No cameras. Just a hallway flooded with soft morning light, and two women walking side by side, one who had found her daughter again, and another who remembered her own mother too late. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they don't wear uniforms. Sometimes they don't make a sound. They just show up and stay. Because dignity doesn't come from status. It comes from love that endures. And sometimes, the most powerful act of kindness is seeing someone who's been invisible for too long. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a scene in the comments below. Because no one should go unseen, especially those who love quietly and fight in silence.